Hispanics were invisible to politicians, to business leaders. At a time when the narrative was deficit-based, we were in crisis, we were dropouts. There was no hope for our community. And today, we can talk about that new narrative that exists. Yes, there are still challenges, but we have to pause as a community and recognize the progress that we are seeing our students make. Today, we have 76% of Hispanics that are getting their high school degree. And back in 1990, we were only at 50%. I want to share with you some of those trends that we're seeing moving in the right direction. Yes, we have a lot of work ahead of us, but we have to stop and reflect on what is working. We're seeing now more Hispanic students graduate from high school and enter college. We don't need them just to enter college. We need them to get their graduate degree. We need to see them through that finish line. So we recognized when we started this journey that we were coming upon a 25-year celebration for the White House Initiative. And being Latina and knowing how big we go at our quinceañeras, we knew that we couldn't just have a celebration at the White House and call it a day. So we launched an anniversary year of action with the support of Secretary of Education Arne Duncan and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute. And we said, we are going to highlight those emerging communities that are seeing a growth of Hispanics in their school districts and highlight those leaders that often don't get that national spotlight shined on them. So we've embarked on an amazing journey of talking about progress and celebrating our Latino leaders. We started off our acknowledging the folks that answered our call for commitments to action by going into a community in El Monte, California, where the city recognized that their students were not graduating from high school. And the more they digged and asked why, the parents said, we don't want to give our children false expectations. We're working 2 and 3 jobs. We cannot afford a college education. So the city came together and answered our call to action, reached out to us and said, we want to pilot a financial literacy initiative. So now every first grader in that community has access to a savings account, and there's a matching component. That's progress. That's a community coming together. Then we moved on to Chicago, where we were talking about the importance of early learning, because we can't talk about the future without talking about a cradle to career agenda, and early learning should be our baseline for every community, not just for our Hispanic students. Every child should have access to a quality early learning education. And they committed $3 million to make sure that we could increase access in Chicago for Hispanic students. We're talking about progress. And we're talking about opening the doors to high quality early learning programs for Hispanic students. We were recently in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, where we announced a commitment for undocumented students. So a partnership between a private institution and a national nonprofit is committing $12 million over 7 years to provide our undocumented students with access to a full 4-year ride. Progress. But that's not enough. We also made sure we had a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce, because those employment opportunities that are so critical for our community. Then we moved on to Kentucky, and we just recently launched a commitment to action in support of college access and completion. So we're targeting our emerging communities, we're targeting our Hispanic community, and what we wanted to do with this celebration was bring attention to that asset-based narrative that is so often ignored, and bring attention and pause as a community and as a country to have a national dialogue on what the state of education for the Hispanic community, what it currently is and looks like. We have to continue to move the needle forward on progress. It's not enough to have had an 8% degree completion rate in 1990 and today talk about our 15% degree completion rate. We have to move that needle forward on progress. So our call for commitments to action is just that. How do we as a community move the needle forward on progress? How do we make commitments and come together instead of working in silos and address gaps in our community. So I'm here because Jacqueline said I was coming to Houston and there was going to be something special to celebrate. And I'm here to celebrate the progress, the leaders that are making a difference in this community, that answered our call for commitments to action and said, we want to put something on the table. And let me just tell you, of all the ones that we have amplified throughout the year, this one is truly special because it's the coming together of a community. We do not have a commitment that is reflective of a city that's come together with their partners. So it is truly special and an honor to be here, even in August. I promise to be back. So I want to transition into that narrative that is so important for us to celebrate and to have. So are you ready to hear what the city of Houston is putting on the table? Yeah. Let me hear you say it. So leaders from the city of Houston have answered our call for action by collaboratively working together with their partners to commit over $10 million that's going to impact over 350,000 students and 40,000 parents and educators. So let me introduce you to some of those amazing leaders. Ben Mendez, the National Hispanic Professional Organization is making a $4.2 million commitment for their Youth Leadership Institute. The Institute will provide 21,000 high school students and parents with a life-changing experience to help them better understand the many opportunities available to them in their pursuit of a post-secondary degree in a STEM field. Ben? Dr. Melissa Gonzalez, please join us on the stage. Lone Star College is making a $710,000 commitment for the Mi Familia, Mi Futuro program, taking a collaborative approach to the partnership between community-based organizations, the school district, community college, university. Parents are going to learn how to understand and navigate through the education system at the primary, secondary, and post-secondary level. Thank you. Dr. Bhattacharjee and Dr. Gulati, the University of Houston downtown is committing $1.5 million for their partnership to prepare bilingual student teachers with a focus on STEM, preparing 200 bilingual pre-service teachers to teach scientific investigation skills to elementary school children. Dr. Cesar Maldonado. The University of Houston is making a commitment of $950,000 for their University of Houston, Houston Community College Transfer Advising Partnership. Through this program, 10,000 students will be provided with team advising from Houston Community College and the University of Houston with programming aimed at supporting their academic success, readiness to transfer, and smooth integration into the University of Houston community. You all know this person, Valdemar Rodriguez. Talento Bilingüe de Houston is committing $1 million for Educarte, a four-pronged didactic project supporting bilingual education by providing theatrical, motion picture, and musical programming, impacting 300,000 students. Linda Olsen Flores. Through their Career and Education Day expansion project, the Houston Hispanic Forum is committing $60,000 to expand its 30-year tradition of hosting Career and Education Day. They will increase participation by 10% each year through the availability of free transportation and will launch a capital campaign to improve their website to students so parents, counselors, and teachers can access any of their career tracks and resources. Solana. The Tejano Center for Community Concerns, Raul Izaguirre School for Success, is making a $500,000 commitment for their Parent and Student Alliance initiative. The PASA initiative will aim to empower over 10,000 students and parents by providing valuable resources, trainings, and camps in order to increase Hispanic high school graduation and college access. Sonia Rivera. The Youth Genesis Consulting, Inc. is committing $350,000 for the launch of their Art Evolution After School Camp, impacting over 4,000 students. Their commitment will build on students' art skills, increase their involvement and attendance in school, build self-confidence and creativity, prevent violence in school, in and out of school, and help students forge positive relationships with peers and adult role models. Thank you. Juan Carlos Lopez, thank you for the amazing tour, by the way. NASA Johnson Space Center's Hispanic Employee Resource Group will commit $200,000 for their Hispanic Engagement Campaign. Through their campaign, they will increase Latino student, family, and educator exposure to STEM-related content and activities. Richard Farias. The American Latino Center for Research, Education, and Justice is committing $1.2 million to hold Latino education summits, impacting more than 20,000 parents, students, and educators. These summits will promote collaboration, share best practices, and increase better understanding of the Latino student in order to increase graduation rate. The future is bright because of leaders like this that answered our call for action and that are putting students first. Please join me in giving them a big round of applause. So for me, it's an honor to be in Houston and to meet such amazing, outstanding community leaders. We're going to be taking this narrative to Washington, D.C. in the fall and celebrating the president at the White House, celebrating that acid-based narrative and making sure that it no longer gets overlooked. Because, as was mentioned earlier by Dr. Kleinberg, the landscape of our country is changing and has changed. You can walk into any public school in this country and see the diversity of our country and see our Latino students eager to learn and succeed. And so we're here to thank you, and we're here to make sure that this narrative no longer gets lost. So we have 25 years that we can look back, but we really are here to talk about how do we continue to invest in the next 25 years. So thank you all so much for coming out and supporting our White House initiative and supporting our leaders today. Thank you.
Let's give these folks another hand. What a great job. Right, I gotta take this. Hello? Barack, what's up, baby? What's up, baby? Oh, no, Alejandro's here. Yeah, he just got through. Jackie, she's always cool. Yeah. He said, what in the debate? You're a kid, man. That Trump, man, you can't make up this stuff. Oh, well, come, man, I'll be up there in the fall. We'll hang. All right. Well, okay. Holla at me, player. I'll talk to you. All right. Sorry, wrong number. Okay, my agenda's gone. Ben, come on up here, Ben. I think you're gonna close us out here.
I want you all to look around. To your right, to your left. And notice we have the leadership of Houston's Hispanic right here. Talento Bilingüe de Houston. So that says a lot. Education is important to all of us. And I especially want to thank our school board members, as they have to fight the fight every week. Speaking of school board members, we had one walk in. Manuel Rodriguez, raise your hand. Thank you for joining us. We also have Art Murillo from Lone Star College. Art. Now, when Jacqueline called, I had no idea what the White House Initiative was. And to be honest with you, I was like, White House Initiative didn't make any sense to me when I read it. It was like 25th anniversary, and we're just now getting started on this. But after working on it, our first meeting we had a couple months ago, and we started off with a small committee, and it was approximately about 30, if I'm not mistaken, 30 leaders in the education field here in Houston. And word got around, so they were like, well, how come I'm not part of it? I'm a leader. So before you knew it, we had about 50, 55 people on the committee. And I want to thank all of you for participating in the long meetings that we had. We had about 4 meetings altogether, and that included most of these folks that you see standing in front of you. And I want to apologize for all the folks that I texted, emailed in the middle of the night to meet deadlines, because we had certain deadlines to turn in these proposals. And I know Jacqueline and I were always texting, and sometimes it was like 11 o'clock at night here. I know it was later in DC, and she would answer right away. So I knew she was working as well. She was always working, by the way. Jacqueline, I can't tell you how proud I am. Proud that you are an NHPO Leadership Institute graduate. And it's always good to see her back in town, and I hope you visit more often. Now, I want to give a special thanks because we had a great evening last night. We had a dinner. And Alejandra and Jacqueline, of course, they were our honored guests. We had a great turnout, a lot more people than I expected at Churrascos. And for those of you that made that happen, thank you so much. And Richard Farias picked up the tab. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Richard. This morning, we had a tour of NASA. Those of you from NASA, please stand, because I want to give you